I haven't been here in over 6 months. This is my first YouTube live video in over 6 months. But I'm back. I'll be posting a new video tomorrow, and after that, I'll be posting a lot of vlogs. Right, I'll just be vlogging my week. Barring, what do you guys say again? Week of life. What is it? week week in my life. Yes, a week in my life as a UCT computer science student, for example. A week in my life, trying to fight this battle of completing the degree, and essentially all of those different things in between. But yeah, I am officially back. And essentially in today's video, this is actually supposed to be an actual video that I'm posting, but I just wanted it to also be like a live video so that people can comment and it's a live interaction. But in today's video, it'll just be us talking about, what is the title again? I titled it 8 things that actually help you focus, right? And essentially on this beautiful topic, it's a very interesting topic, right? Because when it comes to studying, sometimes you're distracted, or sometimes you're not distracted, and you actually try to focus on your work, but you just can't focus even though you don't have any distractions inside, right? So in this beautiful live video, we'll essentially just be covering that entire niche or topic under the keywords of distraction, focus, not relaxing, procrastination, and all these things are essentially things that hinder you when it comes to you being able to study best. No, not study best, but being able to continue with the studying, or rather studying effectively, right? And that's the most important thing that we want to tackle in tonight's video. It's also very late. I was supposed to make this video at around 10. I'm not 10, 8 p.m. But I made it now at 10. I was still thinking about what to actually say and how to say it, right? And then I thought of this beautiful idea whereby from now on, the videos I'll be sharing them in numbered points. Like I'll be saying, these are 5 reasons why nyere, 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 nyere. These are 8 things that will actually help you focus, or rather, these are 5 habits that you are stuck to that hinder your studying without you actually noticing. And we're basically going to be covering all of these different aspects in the next couple of weeks on this beautiful YouTube channel. So please subscribe. We're doing a very, very huge upgrade here, you see. So tell your friends to tell their friends, and yeah, man, it's gonna be amazing. And let's get into it, because I've been talking for way too long. 8 things that will actually help you focus, right? And remember, we're still talking about the whole branch of distraction, procrastination, and focusing, right? Number 1, this touches mainly on you being distracted before you even study. Take a few minutes, right? Let's say you're about to study today. Take a few minutes to look at some of the things that you usually do before studying, that your habits before studying, right? Are you usually on your phone and then you put it down and say, okay, now let me study? Or are you doing your chores and then after your chores, you go straight to studying? So look at that thing that you usually do before starting a study session, because it's not always about what is currently happening in the study session, but what you're doing before and what you were doing after. You might not notice it, but those things actually affect your study session, right? So let's say, for example, you're someone who spends a lot of time on their phone. That's a separate topic, right? You're addicted to doom scrolling, for example. You're always on TikTok, you're always on your Instagram reels. That's okay, that's a story for another day. But that being the main factor, right? We're trying to say make sure before you get into your study session, your mind is as clear as possible, which means that before you start a study session, you must have at least 10 minutes to breathe, right? And by 10 minutes to breathe, I mean you're not doing any activities in that 10 minutes. So don't just put your phone away and say, okay, now it's time to study, and then you get into it. Put your phone away, just sit in a blank space with a book in front of you, not reading it yet or not studying yet, but just sitting. And there are a couple of activities that you can do during this 10 minutes. One of them is meditating, right? You can essentially take 30 seconds to a minute to just breathe in, breathe out, hema, hema, and samoya, and samoya, and samoya. You just breathe. This is your meditation, right? This is something that calms your brain to say, forget about what we've been doing for that past 3 hours. I am resetting right now. I'm about to start something new, right? And this is something that is gonna help you when it comes to this upcoming study session, right? And another point is journaling, right? And actually, let me not bring these to you as things you can do if you want to, but I really recommend that you do these things before you start every single study session. So put your phone away, or as soon as you're done with your chores, or as soon as you're done being with your friends or spending time with your family, before you start a study session, set a timer on your phone for about 10 minutes. And in that 10 minutes, you're going to take a minute we're taking a minute out of it already, to breathe in and breathe out, breathe in and breathe out for about a minute, right? I don't have to explain how that works, right? Just, you can close your eyes if you want, but it's basic breathe in, breathe out. There's no manual or tutorial for that. Number two, journaling, right? It's very, very important for you to track your thoughts, know where you are, what you're thinking, how you're thinking it, and why you're thinking it, right? And this essentially talks on you being able to express whatever is currently on your mind, right? So if, for example, you were on your phone, you were distracted, you were feeling guilty, and that's why you are going into the studying now, take a book, have an extra book that you're going to use for this, start journaling down your thoughts. Most of the time when I recommend journaling to people, they're like, I've tried it for a day, I don't even know what to write, right? I don't know what to write. Most of the time it's boring, right? And I'm like, exactly that. Those are your thoughts. The fact that you don't know what to write that down. And what you're going to notice is that you're not going to write that every single day. That's not going to be the same feeling. Today, you might say it's the day one, you might be like, okay, Ofentse said I should start writing. I'm feeling happy. This bara, this is what happened today. Tomorrow, you don't have the motivation to do it. You don't have the motivation to do it, and you don't have the energy. And you should write that exactly that. Today, I don't have the energy for journaling. But this is what is on my mind right now. Goodbye. Even if it's just one line, you are done for the day, you've done something. And this is essentially to make sure that before you enter any and every single study session, that your mind is clear and is aware of every single thought, right? Because what we're preventing here is you being distracted in the middle of study sessions. So in the middle of study, if a 25-minute study session, for example, you're like, oh, let me tell my friend this. Oh, I forgot to do this. What else do I have to do after studying? Wara. 1, 2, 3, right? And essentially all of these thoughts keep coming onto your mind while studying, and you keep getting distracted, right? And this is something that we're trying to avoid with you writing down your thoughts within this 10 minutes. Most of the time, it might take you 5 minutes to fully express yourself. It might take you a minute if you don't know what to say. But the main thing here is that we are clearing our mind off of every single thing within the environment, and make sure that we are clear. We are very, very clear, right? And that is point number 2. So far, within the 10 minutes, you have meditating, you have journaling. There isn't much, right? There isn't much to do here, because remember, within this 10 minutes, what we're trying to do is saying, keep your phone away, keep everything else away, tell your friends that you're gonna be studying, and sit in silence. And what happens when you're sitting in silence and not doing anything? Your thoughts starts running. Your thoughts start running. They run. Keep coming to your mind, because now you are silent, you are bored, you don't have anything to do. Your hands are it's basically when you desperately need to do something. It's not ADHD, but you don't know what to do, right? You feel the need to do something, right? And that's essentially the feeling you're going to do. And when you're feeling that, different thoughts start coming to your mind. You start thinking about something that happened last week. You start thinking about what to do tomorrow, and this is the space whereby I'm saying right now that you need to write them down. Write everything down so that you are aware of it and it doesn't distract you. So that's point number one. Take 10 minutes to clear your mind of every single thing by putting your phone away and putting your books away. They can be in front of you, but don't read, right? You can be on your desk, but don't read any books. Within this 10 minutes, you're trying to read your mind and trying to remove some of the urgent things that are disturbing you. And if you feel like you are at a point in time whereby there is that one thing that is lingering on your mind, then you are not in a space to study. If maybe you want to try to study, but there is something that you have to do outside, there is that one chore that you're not done with, there's an incident that happened and it keeps on bothering you, then you need to deal with that first, because now it's going to keep coming in bits and pieces and distract you while you're studying, distract you, and now you can't fully focus on your work. So that's point number one. I call it brain dumping. So this is you clearing your brain of every single thing that is happening and throwing it on a book in terms of thoughts. Point number two, in terms of focusing, I am still in the stage whereby we are about to study, right? So point number two essentially addresses that feeling whereby you want to, but you just don't feel like it, right? Your book is in front of you, you are ready, you are having a pen not in mind, a pen in hand. A pen in mind. You have a pen in hand, right? And you have this pen, you are ready to start studying, but your mind is just not here. You're just feeling mentally fatigued, right? And this second point essentially addresses this. The main thing here is to be as delusional as possible, right? So there are many different branches when it comes to this, and different reasons why you might be experiencing this. And if I try to go over all of them, I won't even finish. So the main thing here is that you are in a space whereby you want to study, but you don't feel like doing it, right? Or rather, you are supposed to. Maybe you don't want to. I don't think I've ever been in a state whereby I want to study and I'm like, oh, I really need to study right now. I've never felt that as well, right? But you are supposed to, or else you're gonna fail and be poor and sleep on the streets, and I don't know, the worst things, right, can happen. But you're supposed to study so that you can pass. It's that simple. But you want to study, but you're just tired. Like I said, it's all about you being delusional as possible. And the first thing here is have a 5-minute start, right? Set a 5-minute timer to say, if I am about to study right now, what exactly am I going to focus on? What is my end goal? What is my end goal? What do I want to have achieved by the end of the study session? And no, this is not planning. You're not planning yet. We're not yet we are at the planning, but we are in that particular study session, right? And we're saying you are feeling tired at that moment, but let's say you're going to study in 25-minute blocks. So think about what exactly is it that you are going to or you are aiming on achieving at the end of that 25 minutes, right? And go to your textbook or to a YouTube video or whatever it is, go to the end. Go to the end, look at that particular end and say, okay, this is the part where I want to reach. And obviously when I get to the end, I should be able to answer this question, right? Are you this is now when you go exploring your question, your past papers. And the reason this works is that it fuels you to let you know where you're actually going, and to tell your mind that it's actually not that much, and even if it's a lot, I know what my goal is. It reduces that feeling of saying this is so much, I don't feel like doing it, it's a lot of work, right? The minute you look at your end goal, the minute you look at a question paper you've never seen before and you know very well that you are unable to answer the question. The question is saying, if a boy is running at 2 kilometers, how much food did he eat in the morning for breakfast yesterday? You are able to see that. I'm sorry, I know that question doesn't make sense. My point is, you are able to see that at the end of this particular study session, I should be able to calculate how much this boy ate or what he ate. I should be able to know that. So that is what I'm working on in every single thing that I'm gonna be studying. Keyword, how much? How are we getting there? How is this thing that I'm currently studying gonna help me get to that point, right? So when you are in that feeling of saying, I don't want to do this, you don't have to do the whole thing. Okay, I can do this. I want to build my mama a house. Hey, do it for the future. Millionaire, Porsche, Lamborghini, I want to have them all. That's external motivation. Most of the time, it doesn't work, right? But here we want to internalize it and actually be realistic in what we're doing. What are we actually aiming on achieving? What do we want to get to? So look at either the end of the chapter questions, that is the best option. Look at the end of chapter questions, look at the past paper itself. And this is something that should be able to motivate you internally to say, yo, I don't know any of these things that are on this past paper. So I am cooked right now. Okay, there are 4 questions. I don't understand all 4 of them. Let me start with this one. Where do I start? Now you go to your textbook. So this is now when you're starting, right? So it gives you that boost at the beginning to say, okay, let me just break it down. Let me start with this first question. How do you actually get to answer this question? You can even go to as far as looking for the memo. Look at the question and then look at the memo. Okay, this is how they do it. Now what do? I go back to my content now. I want to figure out how they answered this question. That is studying. You are literally studying, because in as much as maybe you're starting at the end, typically what we do is that you study, you look at the question, you try the question, and then you look at the memo, you correct yourself if you're wrong. But now what we're doing here is that we're starting at the end. We're looking at the question and the memo, and then thinking about whether we can be able to solve this. If I can't, then I'm going back to my content now. I'm starting with the studying. Why? So that I can be able to answer this question. Ta-da! Wabon. So this second point essentially builds on you not having that initial motivation or push start, to say, okay, let me actually get studying, because it is a common thing. It's a normal thing to feel like that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it, and that is the point that we're trying to address here. That's point number 2. Take your notes. I really, really, really genuinely hope you're taking your notes. That's point number 2. Number 3, now we are getting into the actual studying, right? We are getting into the actual studying. Now you are within, right? Let's say you have set a timer for 25 minutes to study for 25 minutes, and within the 5-minute mark, for example, you're already distracted. you're already distracted for some reason, for some odd reason. You are already distracted and you are thinking about external things, or your mind is back to being tired, right? There are so many reasons why you lose your focus. And when this happens, your first point of instinct should not be to say, this content is difficult, or I am tired of school, or I don't understand what I'm doing here. But look at the initial reason and try to understand the main reason why you actually stopped, right? Why you lost that focus, right? What actually happened in the moment for you to say, yo, I thought about this thing and then I lost focus, or I don't understand the content, so I lost the motivation and lost focus. Or I thought about an incident that happened last week, it disturbed my mind, so I lost focus. So going back and locating this thing and snatching it and writing it down, of course, maybe that may not solve whatever that problem is immediately, but knowing it is the first step. Barring, there's a certain quote about awareness. I should actually look for it right now. Um, my book is very, very far. But there's a very, very beautiful quote about awareness. I actually lied. It's not very far. There's a very, very beautiful quote about awareness. It says, you cannot change what you're not aware of, but once you become aware, you cannot help but change. I'm gonna read that again. It's by Sheryl Sandberg. She says, you cannot change what you're not aware of, but once you are aware, you cannot help but change. One more time. You cannot change what you're not aware of, but once you become aware, you cannot help but change, right? And what this speaks to is that, yes, you writing down what the problem is, or what the main issue with you focusing is it might not help you realize, solve it immediately, but once you are aware, you are going to try as much as possible. You are not gonna help yourself, but try to change whatever that problem is, right? Because now you know. Because most of the time, right now, in the position that you are in, you watch this video because it says the reasons you cannot focus, right? Or how to fix you not focusing. But if I ask you what is the reason why you don't focus, every single time you sit down, you're gonna have to start thinking about it. But the goal here is for for it to be your second nature. When someone asks you about it, it should be at the top of your head. And this is a process that will essentially help you get to the solution faster, right? In terms of you being able to answer that question and being able to get rid of that main source of lack of focus, right? And this is while you're within a study session. So if you're doing a 25-minute session and you're 8 minutes in and you're distracted, write it down. And I'm getting to the second point right now. But write down what you think the main issue is. Even if it's not an issue, document the moment when you realized that you lost your focus, right? So let's say I'm studying for 8 minutes, I'm going. At some point, I'm like, I'm tired, right? I drop my pen, I do this position, the position of just, slanting on my chair and just looking at the book or the laptop, right? Once you get to that point, try to figure out what exactly was the turning point for you. What was the main thing that made you get to the point whereby you were like, I'm tired of this. Write it down. And then now we're getting to the second point, which is, what do you do when you've actually lost that motivation or drive, or you're within that state of mental fatigue when you're already within the study session, right? Because I can't be getting tired within 8 minutes of study, right? There's obviously definitely a problem going on somewhere, somehow, some way. There's something going on, right? So it's all about you being able to document that moment and figuring out what is the main issue, right? And how do I recover from that and not give up from being in that particular space? I'm about to deviate and talk about a very, very important topic. And obviously, people are gonna watch this live video once it has been published. I don't know why I didn't record an actual video and post it, but it's all good. Once you are in that state of not being able to focus or feeling mentally fatigued, right? It might be the content, it might be your thoughts, something that's going on in your mind, it might be personal experiences, I don't know, it might be the content being difficult, it might be you being difficult and not liking the content. It can be multiple reasons, right? It can be all of them, in fact, right? But the main point that we're trying to solve here, or the main point that we're trying to figure out, is how do you recover from that? Do you ignore the issue and continue with the studying? Do you address the issue, or do you just stop and, I don't know, do nothing, right? But what I always advise when you're in this situation whereby you're just tired, tired of the studying, and you just don't want to do it anymore. Switching is the most important thing, and by switching it can mean a lot of things. If you are feeling tired of studying your maths, your physics, and you're just not understanding, or you just don't like it, or you're disturbed by something, or you just can't focus because of something, switch your study method, switch the subject, switch the environment. It can be any of these, right? And it's very, very important that you try every single one of them, because most of the time your fix or your solution is in one of these, right? So let's say I'm trying to practice maths, I'm doing a question, I'm watching a video, I don't understand what is going on. The video is essentially trying to explain the content. I watch that video, I don't understand what's going on. So obviously that's gonna demotivate me. I close my books. I wanna jump out of my window now. I'm on the 8th floor, by the way. I can I can either switch and watch a different video. That's point number one. There are so many creators on YouTube that essentially explain the exact same concept. If you don't understand someone explaining it, even if they are your favorite YouTuber, switch, change, search the same topic, scroll all the way down, look for someone who's explaining the same topic, watch that video. That's your first switch if you're watching a video. Number two, let's say you're studying a theoretical subject, you're trying to memorize something in biology, in your life science, your geography, any of these subjects, right? You just don't seem to get it, or you just don't seem to understand where it's coming from. Switch your study method. Again, go to your YouTube, this same platform that you are on. Enter in the search bar different study methods for theoretical subjects, different study methods for practical subjects. This is your math, your physics, your accounting. These are the subjects that challenge your analytical skills, or whatever, right? You go to your YouTube, you look for these different methods, switch your study methods. Your study method, that's number two. That's the second switch. Switch number three, switch the subject. Remember, these are in order. These are in a particular order, by the way, in the manner in which you should try each and every one of them. The first one, if you were trying to understand from a textbook, then come to YouTube, look for someone. So you are switching now, switching your method of receiving information. If you are already on YouTube, watch a different creator. You are switching the person who is explaining the concept. If it doesn't work, you come here now. You switch the study method. If you don't know any other study methods, come here on YouTube. If I start talking about all of them, this video is going to be 3 hours long. Come to YouTube, type in the search bar different study methods or different theoretical study methods, or you can even be specific into whatever subject you're doing, different maths studies methods, different geography study methods, or theoretical subjects is how they usually put it, right? That's number 2. Number 3, switching the subject. If you are doing your life sciences and it's not looking good, you just don't understand, and you are just not feeling it overall, this is most when you're just not feeling like doing the subject, switch to your maths, switch to doing some physics for a few minutes, right? Even though maybe you're writing life sciences tomorrow, so you actually have to study it on a choice, but that change of scenery is still very important, right? Switch to something that you are more comfortable with for maybe 15 minutes, for 25 minutes, right? Do that thing for 25 minutes. And what that thing does is that it recharges your motivation if you didn't have any. It re-energizes you, right? You get that boost of motivation back, and now you're able to start pumping again. You're back to feeling like yourself. And what you do after this 25 minutes, you go back to the exact same thing. You're switching again. You're switching back to your main priority, the thing that you're supposed to be doing, which is life sciences. Now once you are back to it, you have renewed energy, you have a renewed mindset in terms of how you're going to be thinking around the content, right? So now you are able to better align yourself with what is currently going on, what nyaga is going on that you're not understanding. This is you switching the subject. By switching the subject, I'm not saying you are giving up what you're currently doing. I mean, you switch it just so that your mind can have a change of scenery and a change in, I don't have a word for it, but it's something that's going to help in you clearing your mind of whatever is currently on your desk, so that when you come back, it all feels new, not necessarily new, but you have a renewed way of thinking, or a new neural network has connected, that was not there, but it was connected by the content that you were doing for the past 25 minutes. So you're gonna come back to it eventually. Just don't give up on it. In all of this switching, we are not encouraging you giving up on the content. That's why I said, when you are feeling like this, when you're feeling mentally fatigued, your initial instinct should not be to say, this is not working out, this subject is not for me, I am giving up on it, I can't focus, I can't concentrate, so I am giving up. You're still gonna come back to it, and that's still very, 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 very important. That is a very, very important point. We're on number 3. Switch the method of, not the method, the video, or your way of receiving information. Switch the study method, switch the subject. Last one, switch the environment. Guys, have you ever tried studying on the floor? If you are in your room, guys, take all your books, put them on the floor, and start studying. And it might sound crazy, but like I said, we are not giving up here. That change of scenery is something that is very, very, very important, and it aligns you very much in terms of getting that renewed way of thinking. And just, if you are currently stressed, now you're even laughing at yourself for the fact that you're studying on the floor, for example, right? It's all of these different creative things of in terms of change or switching, right, that renew your thinking to say, okay, now we're starting from scratch, we are forgetting what we've just done, now let's start again, so that we don't give up. Change your environment. If you have access to a lot of different places, use those different places as much as possible. In high school, I didn't have much access to different study places, right? I was always studying on my desk, right? And so we didn't have a library. I couldn't study at school. I was always in my room. So it was either my room or the floor, or I would study in my mother's room, right? So I would go to a room, I would take my books, and then she has like a small desk, not a desk, like a side cabinet, this thing, that thing there. So the thing that yeah, the bedside thing. So she has that thing. I would take that, I would take a chair and go and study on that small desk. Not that desk, that small thing, that small surface for a few minutes, right? And she would just look at me and say, and then, and I'm like, Skawara, Mfanaka, don't worry, I'm trying something here, I'm cooking, right? And I was doing this because I couldn't focus in my room. I knew something was wrong. But being in this new environment and actually laughing at myself and saying, Ofentse, what on earth are you doing? It just refreshes my mind, right? It gives me this boost of motivation that I don't know where it's coming from, but it's just my mind telling me that you're in a different environment now. Don't disappoint me. Start afresh. You can do this, right? And that's essentially what your mind is doing when you're doing all of these switches. When you're doing all of these switches, and this change of environment should be your last resort. If you are studying on your desk, take all your books, put them on the floor, and in this switch, another thing that I'm not touching much on, but it's a very, very important factor. Make sure your phone is away, right? If you know that you're someone who is easily distracted by your phone, please put it away. I'm just putting this as a disclaimer because it's also one of the reasons why you can't focus, because you keep on checking your phone, you keep on checking your phone. Put it away, put it in another room, put it under your bed, switch it off, right? Switch it off and hide it in your wardrobe, in within the books. I mean, not the books, the clothes, right? You know where it is, but just out of sight, out of mind also helps, right? If you know you're easily distracted, don't study with your phone right by your side. Even if you need it for anything and everything, the first session that you hold and you know that you are easily distracted by it, put it away and see how much you actually need it. Because I'm going to deviate a little bit here, because what we do most of the time is that we make pre-excuses, right, before we even try the situation, right? And I'm like, I'll tell a person, oh, you're distracted by your phone, please put it away, right? And they're like, but I use it to study. And I'm like, how do you use it to study? And they're like, my past papers are on my phone, right? I'm like, okay, cool. Put your phone away. Once you get to the point whereby you need past papers, put your phone out, go to the past papers. It's really, really, really a different feeling, and it's a different situation when you actually take out your phone or have access to your phone with intent, rather than you just having access to it at any point in time. When you're just having access to it, it's just a thing you're not going anywhere. You just build this feeling of ownership and what's the objective non my English ran away. But my point here is out of sight, out of mind, and inside with intent. Put it inside, not inside. Inside with intent, right? And know why it is there, right? If you use your phone for past papers, put it away still. When when it reaches the time where you have to do a past paper, say to yourself before you even go and fetch it, okay, Ofentse, I'm about to do a question paper. Take your phone, open a question paper and do the question paper. Once you're done, please put it away. This is where self-discipline comes in now, because no one is going to tell you to actually open your phone and go straight to the paper, and you go straight to YouTube as muscle memory, or to TikTok. You see, no one is gonna reprimand you in this case. It's all on you. It's all on you. So that was just a side note when it comes to your phone, because it can really be a big factor. That was point number 5, by the way. I'm making it point number 5 because I've been talking for way too long. Number 6. I wrote it here somewhere. I don't know where. Okay. I spoke about all of these. Do not rely on external motivation. This is something that I'm thinking from the top of my head because I've run out of points. I'm on number 5 now. Now this is number 6. I need to come up with 3 more. I need to lie. Point number 6, when it comes to you focusing when you're studying, like I said, all of these different things fall under one niche or category: motivation, focus, discipline, concentration, distraction, procrastination. All these shins and focus, they are all under one umbrella. So there is a certain concept around you setting a planner, you over hyping yourself, right, in and making unrealistic goals, right? If I say to you, okay, plan every single time you're about to study, write a plan and know what you're going to do, that's a normal thing. You're probably doing that already. When you're sitting down, you already know that, okay, I'm going to do life sciences, I'm going to focus on this topic. You know that, right? But most of the time, number one, this overwhelms us when we realize that this list is actually not getting finished. Number two, you get to a point whereby every single day when your list of tasks, your to-do list goes over the next day. So let's say you have a to-do list of 10 things. You do 5 of those things. Now 5, they have to go to the next day. On the next day, you have 3 more things. Now you have 8, you do 3. The other 5 goes to the next day. You do 4, you have 2 more. 4 goes to that day. So now it keeps on accumulating, and it never ends. My point with this is you can still do that as long as you know it's something that's not affecting you. And if it is affecting you, it is very, very important for you to, I call it planning your track and tracking your plan, right? In as much as you can plan that this is what you're going to do, it's very, very important to be realistic in terms of saying, yes, this is what I planned to do in this 25 minutes, but what did I actually achieve, right? If I am saying right now I'm going to sit down to study for 2 hours and I want to be able to finish this topic and understand it, this is why it's very, very important for you to be as realistic as possible. No, not realistic, specific as possible, right? When it comes to you setting your planner, when you're about to sit down to study, know exactly what you're going to do. If you're practicing, know exactly how much you're going to practice. If you are completing an assignment, if you're doing your homework, know whether you're completing it, you're doing half, or whichever the case may be. Once you have that plan in place to say, right now, I'm all good with the studying now, I just need to practice. Right now, I am going to sit down to study, and I'm going not to study, to practice, and I'm going to do 5 different questions. By the end of this session, I need to have done 5 different questions and and answered them and gotten their memos, right? With the memorandums to actually know where I went wrong. You get into the study session, you do the first one, right? This is within the first 25 minutes. You do the first one, you get the answer right. You do the second one, you get it wrong, you get demotivated, you stop. Now you're tired, but okay, you keep going. You go to the second study session, right? The second 25 minutes. Before you go to the second 25-minute session, it's very, very important for you to reflect on what exactly happened here. What was your initial goal within that 25 minutes, and what did you actually achieve? How much did you achieve? Why did you not achieve what you had planned on achieving? Oh, I speak English these days. Yo, school fees. Guys, my point is, I just don't have my to-do list right now. But what I am saying is that you should have your to-do list at the beginning. You should have your live to-do list to say, if I'm breaking up my studying in 25-minute blocks, and I'm doing the first 25 minutes, I had planned to do this with this amount of work. I've only managed to do this amount of work, right? You need to document that down and know what you're actually left with going into the next session. Going into the second session, you need to know how much you've done and what you had planned and what you actually ended up with. I don't know where my book is. I'm gonna look for it right now. But my main point here is that you need to plan your track, but after planning that track, you need to track that plan. So what we're gonna do right now, I'm gonna try and look for my book and look for a page where I've actually implemented this, right? Because it's something that is very, very important in terms of you not losing that initial motivation and knowing where you're standing, how far you still have to go, where are you currently, how can you best get to the point whereby you don't feel overwhelmed, you don't feel burnt down, bent up, bent out. Yo, I was just bragging about English now, but you don't feel bent out, right? So that you don't easily get to the point whereby you feel bent out. It's very important for you to have this tracking of progress, that you know that, okay, right now I am here, I know how much I still have to do. And this is okay, obviously it's in reverse, so you won't see. I'm gonna read what is going on here. It was planned for tonight on the 28th of April. I wrote plan for tonight. The plan was to do an FTX tutorial. FTX is finance, right? The plan was to do the entire tutorial worksheet, right? It was a worksheet of 10 questions. I still remember it quite well. I had FTX tutorial. I had systems analysis exercise. They had given us a short exercise of about 3 questions that we had to complete. And then system analysis. No, this is business analysis. Go through the course outline. This was a new course that I had taken. This was in April, so it was like a new course that I took. Now I'm gonna basically take you through what I did, right? I had the plan here, plan for tonight. This is me checking it off. What I wrote here is live checklist, and this is broken down in 25-minute blocks. From the FTX tutorial, in the first 25 minutes, I was able to understand DPB and how to do the TAT. Mind you, this is the first 25 minutes. I still haven't started with the TAT. I was able to understand DPB. I even forgot what DPB is. That's how much I cram, pass, and forget. But I understood whatever this concept is and how to do the TAT. By how to do, I mean I know exactly how to answer each and every question from the second session that I'm about to get into. So I'm now tracking what I've done. You know, it's something that will actually also make me feel that, oh, Ofentse, you are getting somewhere, you're doing something, right? Because if I am someone who is just blatantly going through Pomodoros and just checking off, I am gonna feel like in that first 25 minutes, I haven't done anything, if I'm being honest, because mind you, I haven't started with the tutorial. So if you were to come to me and ask me, Ofentse, you've been doing this for 25 minutes, what have you covered? Nothing. But I've done this. I understood DPB and how to go about the TAT, right? And that was the first 25 minutes of my time. I did that, and after I did this, I felt very, very much motivated to keep going. Remember, here we're sourcing motivation, like I said. Second point, this was my second 25-minute session. I said I completed the tables and confirmed the calculations with ChatGPT. I didn't use ChatGPT for the calculations. I confirmed. So I completed the tables. I'm assuming maybe the first question or the second question was on something about tables, because it was finance. So it was basically your CPJ, CRJ. Well, not that, but numbers. I completed those things and then I put them into ChatGPT to say, may you please confirm that I haven't made any mistakes? Because remember, with accounting, once you make any minor mistake somewhere now, almost everything might get affected. So it was just me confirming that I've done everything correct after I've double checked myself. That is what I did. This was only question 1. 25 minutes finished, and there are 10 questions. I've only done question 1. I'm gonna do the last one because this is getting boring now. I wanna move on. The last one, this is the third 25-minute session. I said I completed the FTX task successfully, right? This was in the third session. So after 1 hour 30 minutes, I was able to complete this first point, this one, the FTX tutorial. After 1 hour 30 minutes, I was able to complete it. Now I know, looking at this, most of the time, this is very, very beautiful when you're going through studying, when you're actually studying, right? Obviously here I was just doing homework basically, so there wasn't much learning going on. But when you're actually studying and you're planning that, okay, in this first 25 minutes, this is what I'm gonna do. When you're doing this live checklist, you are able to actually test yourself for a Ofentse. In this past 25 minutes, were you actually studying, right? And if so, what were you doing? What were you learning? And this is your, what is it called, active recall. You're trying to actually recall what was going on in the previous 25 minutes to see if you're actually doing something. And if you find that you can't answer this question, then you're cooked. You should just know that you're cooked because you are unable to answer what was going on in the past 25 minutes, right? So this is a very, very important tip to help you when it comes to being able to ignite the fire and keep the fire going when you are studying, and and not losing that focus at some point, or motivation, or being distracted, right? Because even when I'm studying and I'm within that 25-minute session, and I'm maybe at the 10-point mark, at some point my mind is gonna tell Murio, after this 25-minute session, I actually need to remember what was going on here. So let me lock in and actually try to focus, right? So that I can understand and not just passively study. Maybe I'm reading through a textbook, wara, 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 wara. If I close that textbook and you ask me, I have nothing in mind, that's an issue. So it actually activates that thingy inside of me, the prefrontal cortex or something, to say, Ofentse, you actually need to study, right? You actually need to focus correctly. Ooh, that is beautiful. You actually need to focus on what you're doing, because right now you're just passively studying, and that is not a good thing. So it's very, very important for you to be able to whatever. It's very, very important for you to be able to do this live checklist. Where now that is point number 6, and like I said at the beginning, I hope you're taking tips. Very, very important. Point number 7, I still have 2 more points, and I don't have anything in mind right now, so I'm gonna cut it down. I'm gonna change the title of this video to 7 because I genuinely have nothing in mind. I was being optimistic by saying I have 8 different tips to give to you guys. I don't. Number 7. Pay very, very, very careful attention to your study times. Pay very, very, very careful attention to your most effective study methods. Pay very, 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 very careful attention to your most effective study style. And just in general, your way of studying, right? Do you study best with friends? Do you study best in this environment? Do you study best at night? And I'm talking about all of these different factors. You should know yourself to that point. Obviously, the most simplest one is, do you study best as soon as you come back from school, or you get a nap and then you sleep, or you study in the early AMs, your 1 AMs? That's the most basic one. And you are able to study at any of these times, but what is your most effective, right? And when I'm saying your most effective, you should be able to answer this question only if you have tried all of the different times. You can't say you've been studying the at the same time since grade 8, where now you've been a night owl, you have never really tried studying in the afternoon to see how it feels, right? Or if you are able to focus, you just think, or when you are a night owl, you just claim yourself as a night owl without testing other methods. That's a very, very bad habit. Try the different times first. Maybe as soon as you come back from school, take a 1 hour nap and then go straight into studying after that. But remember that 10 minutes that I talked about in the beginning. Take that 10 minutes, go straight into the studying. As soon as you come back, see how your mind feels at that point, right? If you feel like, no, there's a lot going on, I can't really focus during this time, then now you can say I study best during those times. Maybe one, because it's very, very much silent. There are no distractions from my phone, my friends, my family. I don't have all of these different noises. Maybe that's also a factor, right? It's you looking into this. Know what is your most effective study time. That's number one. Number two, your most effective study style. And by style, obviously, most of the time when they talk about style, they look into your audit, whether you're an auditory, kinesthetic, or visual person. But from my end, that's the bare minimum, right? If we're saying you're an auditory learner, you're a visual learner, that's just basic things that go into your methods of learning, right? In terms of how you absorb information. But when we're looking at your study styles, we're looking at your environment, right? Do you study best with friends? Maybe when you're studying with friends and we are explaining to each other, that's how you best understand information. Or maybe when you study alone and then you explain to your friends, that's how you best keep the information in your long-term memory, Feynman technique. Or maybe when you study with friends first and then go home and study alone, that's how also another method of saying this is how I best study. Or even maybe you just don't enjoy being next to anyone, you just want to do it alone, and that's your most optimal method of studying or style of studying. And like I said, do not say something is your most effective or your most optimal if you've never tried the others. If you have never tried explaining to your friends the content that you have been studying, for example, don't say you study best alone. If you've never tried studying with friends and then going back and reviewing all the different information that your friends said, do not say you study best alone. So please try everything first. Try all the different methods. There are people that I know who were able to thrive so much once we started studying in study groups. Once we started the study groups, you could see this person, this is actually working for them. And all along throughout high school, they were studying alone and they were getting okay marks. But once we started studying together, the okay went into okay. Or like it, yeah, escalator. Once more. So it your optimal you should only have the answer to that once you have tried everything, and that is very, very important. Thank you very much. Number three is just study method in general. How do you best absorb information, right? Looking at I'm gonna focus a lot on your theory in this case. There are a lot of theoretical methods of studying. One of the most important ones is blurting. That is the best way that accommodates every single person in terms of making sure that you understood what you were studying. It's not even, I wouldn't even consider it a method of studying, but rather a method, a memory skill, right? It's something that helps you when it comes to you remembering the things that you were studying. So how that one works is that you sit down, you use whatever study method that you've been using for the past quadrillion years, and then immediately after that 25 minutes or whichever time you are able to focus for, immediately after that time, put your books away, close everything, and then write down everything that you remember from that study session. You see, so this is a method that you can't say, it doesn't work for me. It's not about working for you. It's supposed to test you. Were you actually studying? right? It's exactly the same as if you are sitting down to study, and then once you're done with your study session, I come to you and I say, oh, what were you studying? Tell me what you were studying about in the past 30 minutes. It's the exact same thing. The difference is that now you're closing your books and you are writing the things down, and it works, right? It works in terms of theoretical subjects and you remembering all the things that you have been going through. That's number one. Like I said, I'm just trying to list as many study methods as possible. But like I said, you should know your most optimal one by trying all of them. Number two, you have your 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 flashcards. You have your basically studying through YouTube, getting all of these different sources and combining them all together and working them. There is what else is there? There's note taking. There's a certain method of note taking that actually helps. It's called Cornell, yes, the Harvard Cornell system of taking notes. It's very, very effective. There is a whole lot more. Like I said, go to your YouTube, start Googling there, in the search bar, different theoretical study methods. Look at all of those different methods. Try in a maybe 2 hour period. Try 4 different study methods and see which one you enjoy the most, you are the most at peace, you are able to thrive the most during that 2 hours, right? Within those each and every one of those 4 sessions. It's a beautiful thing to discover, right? So keep that in mind. Do not say something is your most effective if you've never tried the others. And that's my point on this one, right? So make sure you understand yourself. It's very, very basic things that you should know about yourself. And the reason this ultimately helps you in focusing is because if you can't say you are the study method that you are using is your most effective and you've been using it since grade 8, but you are complaining about still getting 60s to this day, you've never gotten an 80. Clearly something is wrong in the way you're absorbing your information. So please, please, please go to YouTube, Google different methods of studying. Try those different methods and see, you might find your germ. Not your germ, it's a germ. Yes, it's germ, just that it's jam. Like, wait, germs, how do you spell gem? Gem, is it gem or gem? Gem, like it's a gem, ne? Isn't like a sapphire, a ruby, are those gems? Like, cause gems are like the germs in the toilet. Wait, let's see. And are they not? Is it not the same spelling? Germs. Germs are tiny organisms. Guys, how do you say germs? Like a germ. You are a gem. Okay, but you might figure out that special thing. I genuinely don't know. What is it, a gem or a gem? Madge, jam, whatever it is. Like I said, please try out all of these different methods. I'm even afraid of using gem because I genuinely don't know what's going on. Maybe it's my mind. It's very late right now. It's past 11. So my mind during these times, what deviate nyana, I lost robatsena. But my point is, please experiment. This is my point number 7. Experiment and know yourself. Know yourself, and such that if I come to you and I say, what is your most effective way of studying? And you say to me, it is I don't know, it is, what is this thing, Feynman technique, right? And that is explaining to other people, right? And you say it's your most effective method of studying, and I'm like, let me see your marks, and you show me that your average is a 68, for example, and I'm like, why? What do you think is the main reason you haven't reached your 80 yet, right? Why do you think is the main reason? And then you say, mainly because I usually don't finish studying when it's time for the test. I don't cover all the content. Maybe it's because I'm usually distracted. but you should know your reasons, right? And that is the experimenting that I'm knowing about. You should know what is wrong. You should be able to uncover. Sit down with yourself immediately after this live video. Well, to those who will be watching after, which is like most of the people, it won't be a live video, but after watching this video, sit down with yourself, look at your average, try to decipher what is the main reason. Is it because the content is too difficult? If it is, I talked about the shifting earlier. Focus on those shifts. That's if the content is too difficult or too heavy or too tiring or it's just boring. Focus on the shifts. If it's because you are easily distracted, also focus on the shifts or focus on the live tracking. If it's because you are just not motivated to study, you just don't like school, again, focus on the shifting, focus on the tracking, focus on what we're talking about right now, knowing yourself and knowing when do you best thrive, right? Knowing what are your most optimal times of studying, your most optimal methods of studying, or most optimal methods of remembering information, and all of these different things just come together to make something very, very beautiful. So, assemblief please utilize all of these different points. If maybe if you forgot to take notes, if you are not taking notes throughout the live video, please go back to the beginning, try and take notes. And when you take notes, please try and take notes as detailed as possible and not repeat what I'm saying. Write it in your own words. I know that sentence might sound traumatizing a bit when I say write in your own words. Now you have to think from scratch what to say, but write essentially what you understand about what I said, or what you think what I said means. For example, when I said the quote, you cannot change what you are not, you cannot change what you are not aware of, but once you become aware, you cannot help but change. Try and think about it. What do you understand by that, right? And how can you best interpret it in your own understanding? What is it saying to you, right? If I'm going back to that first point I was talking about, shifting, what are you going to shift in your life? I made the example about with me when I was in high school. When it comes to shifting environments, I didn't have much. It was either my desk, my floor, or the bedside cabinet in my mother's room. Those were my three options. Here in university, I can go to the library. There are so many stations in the library. There are so many classrooms. There are so many different environments. I can study outside. I can study here. I can study, there are so many different environments. I can go to Starbucks. It's a plethora of different environments, right? But think about your situation at the current moment. Where are you currently standing? How does it apply to you, and what are you going to do to change that? And if it's something that you feel like you don't relate to, that's still okay. Absorb that information. It's gonna help someone that you know, someone very close to you. Maybe they might not talk to you about it, but there's gonna come a point in time where you notice that, okay, this person is struggling with this. Ofentse once said something about this. Let me talk to them about it and see if maybe I can be able to assist in this regard, right? And yeah, man, that is pretty much about it from me for this 1 hour 8 minutes. Ooh, it's beautiful that it's 1 hour 8 minutes, because I said 8 things, although I said 7 things, but it doesn't matter. I still said a lot. So, and I hope this information was very much helpful. Tomorrow on Friday, we're gonna be coming back with a video, and we're gonna be more consistent from now on. If I'm not consistent, or if you don't see a video on this channel by Saturday, like under videos, drop a comment and say, Ofentse, what's going on? Are you still alive? Because yeah, academics are not academicsing. So this is my source of motivation from my side. This is how I help myself, by being able to help other people. And yeah, man, that's pretty much about it for me. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll see you guys whenever I come back. I don't know when that will be. I mean, I've been gone for like over 3 months, so I hope I will be coming back very, very soon. Yeah, thank you so much for watching this video when it has been posted, and I'll see you guys after the break. Love everyone. good night, good morning, good afternoon. All the best with your studying.